Are you tired of your brand looking and feeling inconsistent? Well, in this video, I'm going to be breaking down some of the key things I do to make sure that my brand is very consistent across all social media channels. Well, I'm Destiny, and my channel is all about entrepreneurship, business, and side hustles. So the first thing when it comes to building a consistent brand, I like to do is find a good graphic designer. Now, finding a graphic designer can be very tricky nowadays because everyone has their different styles. So you want to make sure you find someone who specializes in your industry. So if you're in tech, you want to find a graphic designer that specializes in tech. You don't want to run a tech company that looks like a beauty brand. Another thing I'm going to say when it comes to finding your graphic designers, look at the reviews. You want to get someone that's very consistent. So back when I was starting off my journey, I had a graphic designer that I hired. This was all the way back in 2016, and of course she didn't have that many reviews on her page. So once I started working with her, I noticed that she had a hard time meeting deadlines. So when it came to events, sometimes I wouldn't have my flyers out on time. So you want to make sure you read those reviews for those graphic designers, because you don't want to get put in a situation where you have a big event coming up. Let's say it's your grand opening, you need your flyers, and your graphic designer disappears on you, and you have to hire someone else who has a completely different style than your original graphic designer. And since we're on the topic of graphic designers, one of the key things when you work with a designer, when you're getting your logo done, you need to get a brand style guide. So that brand style guide is going to include your logo, any sub marks you have, your brand colors. And with your brand colors, it's going to include all of the variations that you included in your logo. It's going to have the hex codes. Now, the hex codes are very important. Now, if you see McDonald's or if you see Coca-Cola, you notice that they all use the same red. Sometimes it's not a burgundy red, then other times it's a bright red. It's always the same exact red. So you want to accomplish the same thing for your brand. Like if you notice my brand, Destiny Adams, the Traveling Hair Boss, I use the same exact green. So that way, when you see my brand, you see the green, you're going to automatically associate it with my brand. So even on YouTube, when you see the green in my thumbnails, you're going to automatically know, okay, that's Destiny Adams. She has a new video because I see the green. Moving on from hex codes, the next thing you want to pay attention to is your font. So you want to have the same fonts every time you do something. You don't want to be mixing around different fonts. Like I say, typically for my brands, I'll have 3 to 4 different fonts that I play around with, but once you see these fonts, you already know it's Destiny Adams brand. So you don't want to be the person that has a different color, a different font every single week because you got different things going on. You want to make sure you keep it consistent. And when I say keep it consistent, like I know sometimes different themes come along. Like let's say you have a holiday coming on, you want to do a Christmas theme. So your Christmas theme can still be the same where you incorporate the Christmas colors, but when it comes to your logo, if you put your logo in the corner or at the top, that logo should still be in your same colors, your same fonts. You need to incorporate your brand into that Christmas mix to make it look cohesive with everything else that's on your page or on your channel. So typically when I have different flyers that I'm creating for specialty sales, like if I do, let's say Black Friday, so I'm going to have the things that are incorporated into Black Friday, but one of the things that I'm going to do with the flyer to make it match my brand is I'm going to have all the same fonts, and then I'm going to incorporate my green somehow in it so you guys know it's me. Then another thing when it comes to creating a consistent brand is to make sure you have a consistent brand voice. With me, typically for my brand voice is like for my channel, since it's the Traveling Hair Bosses, I constantly refer to my supporters as their own bosses. So I let them know like, hey bosses, or in my email newsletters it's hey bosses. I make sure I don't use foul language. I'm very consistent at the different words that I use. Like I don't call them hey bays or anything like that. So you want to come up with the same thing for your brand. If you're a fun, let's say you're a fun city girl type brand, then you want to use that type of language when you're talking to your customers. You don't want to be talking to the city girls in a very proper manner, and then you're not connecting with your customers. So you want to make sure that those things are very consistent when it comes to your brand. And then the last thing is the elements and the pictures that you use for your brand. So typically for my brand, I have a photo shoot once a year where I'll incorporate my brand colors, just different things that goes along with the type of content that I'm going to be producing for that year. So as you'll see with my content, I typically have my green laptop cover, I have my telephone for different one-on-ones. So all of the flyers that I have typically match up with that same theme that I did for my photo shoot. Then also I incorporate the same type of element. So my element is I'll have $100 bills. Like typically I like to do a gradient of it where I would have $100 bills in the background. So that's one of the key elements of my brand. So when you see different stuff that I'm doing, you'll see the dollar signs, you'll see my green laptop, and it'll be the same for your brand. So whatever elements you want to incorporate in your brand, like let's say you have a beachy brand, like if you want to add, like you want to always have sand, water, a beach ball in all of your content, then that's perfectly fine, because it's going to line up with your brand, and people are going to automatically think when they see that type of stuff, they're going to know it's you. And you don't want to get your brand mixed up with anyone else's. Like I had a situation where another lady's brand, she started a new brand and it looked very similar to mine, and a lot of my customers screenshotted, sent it to me like, hey, this looks just like yours, is she copying you? All because my brand is very consistent, easy to recognize, those exact same colors, same elements, and you want to do the exact same thing for your brand. So I hope these tips can help you along the way of creating a consistent brand for your business or your personal brand or your YouTube channel, because it can go along all those different things. As always, subscribe to my channel. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, drop those in the comment section below. Don't forget to follow me on all my social media channels. I am Destiny Adams on TikTok, especially because I'm trying to grow my TikTok platform. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, pretty much all across the board. I am on LinkedIn. Just search Destiny Adams. You can connect with me on there as well. I have a Facebook group called The Side Business Hustle. I'll drop a link to all those in the comment section below so you know where to find me. And yeah, stay tuned for the next video. Peace.